This week on In the Crosshairs, it's finally time to dig into Super Bowl 55, the Buccaneers versus the Chiefs. We break down the lines, the odds, MVP picks, prop bets, Gatorade color, every bet you can find on the big game. All of that and more right now on In the Crosshairs. Hello everyone, welcome. It is time for a very special episode of In the Crosshairs because it is almost time for the Super Bowl, baby. I'm your host, Ali Melendez, and man, it is the best time of year for sports bettors because this Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday, and obviously, as you can tell, we are very excited. And of course, to talk about the big game, we have America's sports betting sweetheart. It is little baby Joey Knish. Joey, are you ready to break down these big national anthem bets or what?
You know it. Last game of the year, big finale, 1,000 props. This is what it's all about. Good to be here and great to be on and ready to, beat it up J-Maz a little bit one last time here for football season.
All right, well, I can't hear you, so hopefully that's a tech issue we can figure out, but I felt that energy nice and strong. And of course, joining Knish once again is his co-pilot, his man in action, and Line Sniper's golf guru, James Mazolla. James is back in the house, baby. How are you feeling? Are you ready for the Super Bowl?
Absolutely. We've got a little, fun little party set up, some friends, and hopefully have a nice little Bucks outright that was placed before, right before Tom got there. Well, we heard the rumblings as always. So hoping to cash that, but ultimately looking forward to a fun game.
All right, well, guys, we have plenty of stuff to talk about. We'll run through the game and then, of course, talk about the fun stuff with all the novelty bets and the gimmick stuff for fun as well, because why the hell not? But before that, just a super quick reminder to everyone watching at home, check us out on YouTube at Line Sniper HQ for all of our content. We have another video out with Ronnie P talking even more about bets on the Super Bowl. All right, how to get that quick little plug in there. But now, guys, it is time to reboot and refocus. The Super Bowl is happening, and we should do our due diligence here as respectable sports bettors and, of course, just talk about the actual game. So, guys, Super Bowl 55, we've got, of course, the Chiefs led by Mahomes against the Brady-led Buccaneers. Now, look, we've had all the time in the world to think about this, especially amidst a pandemic where we are just inside thinking about sports betting all day long. And, of course, we had a plan for it as well. So, Joey Knish, who wins on Sunday, man? And are there any lines that can still make us money on the game itself? Talk to me, man.
No, yeah, I listen. My perspective has been the same since the game was slated to take place. That I'm a believer in the Chiefs. I think the Buccaneers had a very fortunate pathway to get here. I think you've got the next generation of great quarterback. And I laid it with Chiefs money line. The prices have been right around the same, minus 160 to minus 170 most places. You've seen a little bit of variance shop to shop. So to me, go out there, find the best price. Not going to overthink it. Not going to have to give you anything. I like Chiefs money line. I think they win the game. I think they've got the better quarterback, the better weapons, and even a defense that's played a little above their head so far. I just think this Buccaneers team has been incredibly fortunate in a lot of aspects to get here at a very soft road through the playoffs. And they're facing the transcend. I think when it's all said and done, you'll be talking about Patrick Mahomes as if he stays healthy in 10 years as the best player to ever play. I'm not trying to be hyperbole. I think he's legitimately the best quarterback I've ever seen and will go down as such in 10 to 15 years. So give me the new GOAT. And I'm not buying this Brady, old man. Give J-Maz. I know you got the future, big guy, but I'm rolling with the Chiefs here, baby.
Without the future, I think you're right. Although I have a little bit of a pushback because I think the offensive line injuries for the Chiefs are going to matter in this game. And it's very difficult to go against the real GOAT. It's funny you mentioned the future GOAT. As a golf guy, I always got to bring it back to golf. That's what they're saying about Tiger, baby. We know how that story has ended up playing out. Jack is still the major winner and probably the GOAT. So let's pump the brakes just a little bit on Mahomes. He's got one Super Bowl. He's his third year in. Let's relax a little bit. He's got the real GOAT on the other side. When there's no question about that. Worry about the Chiefs' offensive line issues. I think the front four of Tampa Bay can get some pressure on Mahomes, who is not at full strength, unless you can just suddenly heal from a turf toe, which has plagued people for seasons. I remember Antonio Gates never got over his. So I'm looking at that. I think you're right. The money line. Don't mess with the spread if you're going to bet this game. These guys are going for wins. They're going to be doing funky things down the stretch. You're going to see 2-point conversions. I would not mess with that 3 points. I think there's normally in the Super Bowl, there's value on the money line because nobody's betting the money line on the favorite. They're all taking the -3. So if I were to make a bet, I agree with you. I'm not as gung-ho about it because I think there is a couple things that Tampa can do to slow down Mahomes. But ultimately, I agree. I think the Chiefs win.
All right. Well, honestly, I didn't really expect you guys to change your tune after last week. You were both pretty high on the Chiefs, and I agreed then, so obviously I'm going to agree still now. Now, there's no Ronnie P today to play, contrarian, so the team here says, go Chiefs. Sorry, Tommy B. Maybe next year, because we all know you're never going to retire, and hey, it is what it is. But guys, while we're talking about the players, let's move on to another market that's all about the players, of course, the props. Now, let's just dial in on the usual player props, yards, receptions, touchdowns. You get it, right? We'll loop back around to the biggest prop MVP in a little bit, so we're not going to talk about that just yet. But guys, what are we thinking here? I mean, I know on Bet with the Pros, Ron and Danny took Tom Brady over 0.5 rushing yards, which is really not a lot of yards at all. And then Gronk on the overs for receiving yards. So obviously we got those locked in. What else is there in the props market, guys? What do we like this week? James, go ahead and take the lead on this one for us. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna go on a limb here, and I'm gonna go a little contrarian. I know this is a little aggressive, but I think I'm like all the unders. Give me every under you can find. That's the way I'm handicapping this football game. Here's the thing: nobody is betting over. Let's just be real about that. Guys like Knish, they can't get all the money down to drive these bets down to where they should be. Okay, so I think you're seeing a lot of overvalued. Especially with yards. I'm going to take under with Hill, thinking that they probably don't single cover him all game long. I think you have a game where Mahomes is going to have a hard time getting it off. You're looking at a lot of quick hitters, and we know the Tampa Bay offense is going to run the ball on first down. They're going to run the ball on second down, and they're going to rely on the old guy to make up for it against the strength of the Kansas City defense, which is their secondary. So I like all the unders in a game where everyone thinks it's going over. Nobody's betting anything under. I'll be the contrarian guy. I'll take the unders because I think the game script is going to play that way. Knish, I know you're going to disagree.
You know what? I in almost every Super Bowl where I've been betting, I would normally 100% lock, stock agree with you. I am a little trepid here of a, 42-35 shootout. I think there are some game scripts where, you could take a bath in some cases. But for the most part, one that I like, that I agree with you in that type of realm is the Kelsey unders. They're getting where I can't remember too many games where a tight end's receiving prop was over 100 yards pre-game. So some of these I agree are getting a little out of hand, and probably on it's best case to wait on Sunday, come back on a couple of the unders you like here that are going to be a little inflated. One that and it's based off a little bit of the last couple of games and some of the NFC Championship or the AFC Championship performances. I'm going to go, I think the Clyde Edwards-Helaire numbers, whether it be carries, whether it be yards, are a touch too low, where he's now, rushing yards, he's right around 28.5, 29.5 carries, around 7.5. I think he's, after a couple weeks off here, going to be the lock, stock starter. I know Darrell Williams played better in the AFC Championship game, but they were giving Clyde all the opportunity. He got the touches. You could tell he wasn't 100%. Give him 2 weeks off. He's definitely the better back. I think you'll see at worst a 50-50 split, if not 60-40, 70-30 Helaire, especially if he's playing better. And you'll see him, the Chiefs, all season, if they have a lead in the second half, have tried to, establish the run. Some of the great angles were Chiefs unders in second halves and that. They're not going to be afraid, especially if the Bucs are playing too deep to run the ball there. So give me some Helaire overs. I think they're a little too low. I think he's 100% the feature back in this game, especially with the rest to get him back closer to 100%.
So despite liking the Chiefs, Games is picking Tyreek Hill to underperform while Knish has CEH to exceed. I mean, I do think that Hill's numbers are quite a bit high, of course, only being beaten out by Travis Kelce, which is basically the story of the whole freaking season. But we are not going to break down Kelce and Hill's stats because numbers are boring unless they're making us a little money. And we're going to talk about a nice little way to make that money, of course, with the novelty bets or the meme bets, the Gatorade bets, literally whatever you want to call them. We're looking at all the fun bets here. So this can be your national anthem bets, wardrobe malfunctions, of course, fat man props, all of that fun stuff, whatever comes to mind here. Joey Knish I know you're a classic Super Bowl degen, so what does the Knish moles have in the pocket here? You got an over-under on commercials, puppy bowl breeds. What's Uncle K liking?
So it was a little harder to find some of the novelty stuff, the free money stuff this year, as some places were a little bit more on top of it. I did see there was some halftime info that started leaking out last night. I think if you can find Starboy to be the first song at halftime, that's a good one. Also, over 1.5 weekend wardrobe changes. I think we're going to see 2 outfits here. So over 1.5 weekend wardrobe changes, Starboy to be the first song. Not widely available, as places have seemingly caught on to that this info is out there. So won't be able to get a lot of money onto it. But if you've got some books with those listed, I think those are both solid bets. What do you got for me, my man, Jamin?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they clearly have caught on, because we used to just absolutely get all the information prior. We'd have someone, some random security guard who had, who was sitting at the halftime show, leaked it out. And we would just, max bet every single one of them. And it was kind of, you basically were free rolling into the props, So a lot different this time. I'm looking at over any number really for weekend, for the entire program. This guy hangs his notes. I'm a big Weekend fan, by the way. I've seen him live a couple times. This guy's going to turn an absolute show on here. So the longest that thing, he's going to take this thing we may not even start the third quarter, to be honest with you. This guy's going to make this a show. Heard he invested like $5 million of his own dollars. He's going to make this all about him, and you can't blame him. He's a superstar. So I like him to go over just because of those facts, but really it's difficult to find anything actionable because they're just kind of onto us on this stuff at this point.
I love it. I love it. You can always trust Joey Knish when it comes to wardrobe changes. He's got an in with the Seamstress Union. I mean, listen, I won't blow his cover, but it is true. Not a lot of people know that. But I don't want to give away too many of your trade secrets, Joey, so let's move away from your undercover life and go back to talking about the more classic Super Bowl props. It is time to talk about the MVP award. Now, there's a lot to unpack here because it's a complicated award, believe it or not, even if it doesn't seem like it is. So last year, Pat Mahomes won it, obviously, and traditionally, quarterbacks win it. I mean, Tom Brady has even won it 4 times, which is a record. Now, the award has only gone to the losing team once. But my question is, who takes it this year? Do we see a non-quarterback win because a quarterback won last year? Or does that really matter at all? I mean, clearly not, because quarterbacks win all the time. But James, what are you thinking here? I mean, I know you favor the Chiefs, obviously, as I'm pretty sure all of us do. But what are you leaning on in the MVP market here?
Look, I wish I had something super exciting to tell you and some kind of cool angle for this, but I'm going to just keep it square as possible. You're going to have to go with the quarterbacks here. Is there any value in the other positions? Maybe. But in reality, can you see them not giving it to Tom Brady if he wins? I mean, James White was the MVP a couple of years ago, and they still gave it to Tom Brady. He's the glory boy. And then on the other side of it, you have the next up-and-coming star, the next quote-unquote Tom Brady, right? You have Mahomes. It would take a miraculous performance from one of those wide receivers to be able to get this award. And again, he gets those stats too, right? So I'm not going to get cute with this. Could you find some value? Is there a game script that you can give it to a defensive player or maybe, a running back, or if Tyreek Hill gets 3 touchdowns, maybe? But we saw James White do almost the exact same thing and not get it. So I think it's going to be the quarterbacks. And look, Knish, if you can give me anything that says differently, I'm interested in hearing it.
No, I for the most part, I agree with you. Some crazy shit's going to have to happen for someone other than a quarterback to win it. The media wants the quarterbacks to win it. They're talking about the quarterbacks the entire game. The total is high, so this isn't like a 41-point, going to be a 10-3 slugfest. I did see a sharp guy I know that took a couple of individual bucks on defense at the scenario where you get a lowest scoring game. The Bucs defense has, 5 or 6 sacks. They're able to get a turnover. I think there was some Shaq Barrett out there, 150 to 1, 100 to 1. Some Devin White, 100 to 1, 151. I would say those, for the smallest of sprinkles, are, worth a little bit. If you're going to go outside the quarterback realm, that would be a game script that happens maybe 1 out of 20 times or something that comes up, and the Bucs defense plays lights out and they give it to but then you would need either Brady to have 150 yards and no touchdowns or something, or to get hurt or something along those lines, where you're getting some random 1 or 2% outcome there. The only thing I will say that I saw is you could bet either. I think MGM had most places were like minus 350, minus 400 on this. I did see quarterback the position to win MVP minus 275 at Bet MGM. I think that was the best.
Any defensive player to win?
It was any quarter. So Mahomes or Brady to win MVP.
No, but is that market available?
275. Any defensive player I did see, but it was not a bettable price. It was like 9 or 10 to 1 or so, something that you wouldn't want to. So you are better off just taking the individual defensive player.
Cool.
So again, I don't, like you said, not a ton of value on these. Likely going to be a quarterback. And it just has to be such a random scenario to get a non-QB to win these things. Like you said, even in years past, Darrell Williams last year, James White a few years ago, even when they had monster games, the most tend to not want to give it to them and want to give it to the quarterback anyway. So,
yeah.
All right, well, we're all basically on the same page here, but James is definitely playing it close to the chest and keeping with the classic quarterback pick, which I'm going to have to agree with, which, of course, stats also back up. And Knish is saying if you want to live a little, you can maybe grab one of the defensive players for your MVP pick, but yeah, pretty much the quarterback is your go-to there, so stay tight with that one. Now, guys, we're almost done, but I know this is such a big game, a lot to unpack, such a big topic to talk about. I don't want to miss a thing. So, guys, is there any advice whatsoever that you have for the big game? I mean, any, stuff to watch for the live betting? Is there anything you feel like we have missed that might help everyone at home make some more money, which is, of course, the point of this whole show, even after the Super Bowl is over? Knish, start us off.
You know what? You hit it right there with the live bet. There is not a team I have seen in the last few years that is as cool, as confident, as unflappable when they get down as the Chiefs. You saw when they got down 9-0 to Buffalo, you saw some of the sideline clips there where Hardman comes over, he's really upset, he slams his helmet, Mahomes daps him up, Kelsey, is all positive on that. I mean, it is such an incredible, tactic that where they get down by 10 or 14 in this game, I would absolutely have no problem loading on the Chiefs there. That would be the only live angle that I would really feel comfortable with is if Chiefs get down, even an early Bucs score. If you can get Chiefs, even on the money line or something, they are just so confident and collected and have just absolutely lose no momentum whatsoever when they get down in a game. I just the swagger that they had on the sideline of Mahomes when he's down, 2 scores, feeling no pressure, no nothing, and like they feel they can score at any time. So Chiefs get down in this game. I like that a hell of a lot better than I do a pregame line of anything. If you can get a Chiefs, either plus money at some point on the money line or even around live if they get down in this game. Absolutely have, I feel 100% confident going in on the Chiefs there as no matter what. I mean, until they're dead and buried, it's an offense that you love to live bet. Got anything outside of that for me, J Maz?
No, I completely agree, and I'll just we have evidence of this already. We saw what they did against the Bills earlier this year. We saw what they did against San Francisco last year. They are a team that has considered started a little bit slow. The other thing is you have to remember on the other side of the ball with this, you have a Tampa Bay team that has shown the ability to just be conservative and just run the hell of the ball and maybe to try and deflate it, if you will, if they have the lead. So that plays right into it. They're going to go 3 and out. They're going to, not be able to move the ball down the field when they're trying to just run, Fournette into a stacked box. I like a little something. My advice would be this. There's a lot. This is the most covered event of sporting calendar, and there's so many narratives. And of one time of the year where I believe the actual public money can shape these markets more so than the sharps, just because there's so much on that, is the Super Bowl. So the narratives, they really never play out, right? And again, I kind of touched on this earlier. Everyone thinks it's going to be a shootout. I necessarily don't. I just think there's a lot of value in just fading the public, which normally don't believe in that at all. There's not enough public money to fade, but this is the one event where I think you can take a look at what the guys are saying, and you can kind of go the other way and be successful. Then one more thing I like, just a little prop. I know we probably should have touched this earlier, but Mike Evans' most receiving yards is interesting. He is a highly volatile player. He is going to have, he's either going to have 200 yards or he's going to have 50. Like, that's it. I think that's a really good spot for him. I think you get anywhere from plus 400 to plus 500 on him. And again, I don't like what's going to happen with Tyreek Hill. I think they could limit Kelsey. Evans is the next best receiver, so that's another little prop that I like.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Well, that's going to do for our Super Bowl discussion. Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know, because there is one thing left for the show. And, of course, it's my very best favorite thing ever. It is time for the Best Bets, baby. So anyone new to the show, I got to take this out. I'm hearing my own voice. It's a nightmare. All right, so for anyone new to the show, Best Bets is, well, it's just that. It is the best bets of the week. And we're going to see what else the guys have up their sleeve. So, James, Knish always starts off, so we're going to mix it up a little bit here. What are you liking this week? I want to know. There's a PGA tournament on. I mean, there's plenty of other stuff going on besides the Super Bowl. But, of course, if you want to double down on the Super Bowl, that is also obviously accepted. So what you got?
I'll give you two. I'll give you some golf real quick because I know that's kind of my thing. So I just placed a bet Francesco Molinari to win the Masters, to win the British Open. You already have Joaquin Niemann to win at least for 3 of the majors. That's your first spot.
Yes,
my favorite spot right here, I think Mecole Hardman's going to have a huge game. I think that they're going to be taking away Kelsey. I think they're going to take away Hill, and you're only left with one guy. So you're getting an over any kind of yardage on him. I'm liking that. For him to score a touchdown, you can get some wonderful numbers there. That's my favorite. I think he's going to be the key for the Chiefs to have success, which I think they will. I think they're going to win the game. So I think they will be successful taking away the two best weapons. Mahomes also under rushing. He's hurt, and he's gonna be scrambling around throwing the ball away. So I like his under rushing, but mostly I like Mecole Hardman to have a big game for the Chiefs.
All right, James. Thank you. Now, Knish, last week, Chris and I guessed you were going to talk about hockey. Then you went soccer on us. Now, this week, I think I want to say hockey again, but I'm going to go with football, obviously, with the big game this weekend. So, Knish is all about Super Bowl. Am I right?
You know it here. I threw a little curveball last week. Unfortunately, my Spurs, Tottenham, did not come through for us over the weekend. Should have went to hockey. But listen, now we're back in the wheelhouse. We're going with a little football. If you look around the market, there are some Le'Veon Bell props out there. I do not think Le'Veon Bell, even without an injury, I'm not sure he even gets. I think he'll be on the active roster, so the prop should grade. I don't think he gets into this game without the Chiefs are very comfortable just using two backs. CEH should be closer to 100%. Williams has played very well. Le'Veon Bell hasn't played well in 6 weeks, in 8 weeks. I think there was under 0.5 receptions out there. There was under 2.5 carries out there. I think Bell unders across the board are great bets. I do not see him playing any role in this game unless there's an injury. As he has, it's been like 2 months since he's seen a good effort out of him, and he lost pretty much all his carry share to Darrell Williams, and then CEH is back. I don't think Bell sees the field, especially with the premium put on this game in the 2 weeks off. Bell unders across the board. I love them. I bet them already. I would feel comfortable playing them, up into the reasonable juice, anything minus 200 or under. I do not think they will play him unless it's an emergency scenario.
Oh, lots of good stuff there. Well, there you go, folks. And that is actually it this time, like for real, for all we have for you on this lovely episode of In the Crosshairs. Thank you all for watching and joining us. Remember, you can find absolutely everything by us on linesniper.com. And just go ahead and follow us on our socials. Give us love. Why not? That's Line Sniper HQ on all platforms. You can check out our channel for even more best bets. And, of course, our brand new Fight Night podcast with Dave Millhouse outlining all the bets you need to make some money via the UFC. That's a lot of fun there. Now, we will be back with even more In the Crosshairs, more betting with the pros, and just more of the sports betting content you love next week. But until that time, this has been In the Crosshairs, brought to you by linesniper.com, your definitive resource for all things sports betting content and in-game analysis. For the team here in the studio, my lovely gentlemen, I'm Ali Melendez. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time, and good luck with the Super Bowl.